DJM, Jess Hilarious, and Charlamagne the God.
They're listening to The Breakfast Club.
Thank y'all for being like cultural leaders.
You guys are family.
The Breakfast Club is where people get their information on the topics, on the artists, and everything like that.
I'm running like that.
You guys were nice. Everybody got me all nervous. Like you guys, let's not go on.
You're locked into the world's most dangerous morning show.
More dangerous than the Bronx.
If you in the Breakfast Club, you ain't gonna bring it 120. You might as well not come up here.
Oh my Jesus, this is what y'all do up here?
That's right. Get up out the beds and listen to the greatest show on earth.
Ray. Yo, Charlamagne, Envy, what up? Are we live?
This is your time to get it off your chest.
I got an indoor pool, an outdoor pool.
We want to hear from you on The Breakfast Club.
We can get on the phone right now. He'll tell you what it is. We live?
Hello, who's this?
Yo, this Ben, man. How y'all doing?
What's up, Ben? Get it off your chest, Ben.
Man, I just want to talk. First of all, good morning, Jess. Good morning, Charlamagne.
Good morning.
Envy.
Peace, Ben.
All right. First thing, I just want to get this off my chest. I can't say this to my girl, so I'm gonna just say it to y'all. I hate my girl dogs. Okay.
Okay. What kind of dogs are they, bro?
But she got some kind of little poodle dog and American pit. Okay. I am a dog guy. Don't get me wrong. I love dogs. I just didn't grow up with dogs in my house. Okay. But these dogs about to run me crazy. I don't know how. Okay, to all the dog people out there, I don't know how y'all deal with dogs running all around y'all house and dogs everywhere. But this about to make me say, "Hey, I can't do this no more." It's gonna be either me or the dog.
She got you cleaning up poop?
Bruh, I just refuse. Like, I don't even walk these dogs.
Y'all got kids?
I don't do nothing for these. Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Damn,
Yeah.
you can't leave. Damn, you about to walk away because of the dogs?
Yeah, what
you got
the dogs? What are they doing to you, man?
Listen, the dogs ain't doing nothing to me. They just stupid dogs, and I hate dogs everywhere. Bruh, I don't like going to work with dog hair all over me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's crazy. Man, look, these dogs don't even be in my car, and I got dog hair in my car. I vacuum in my car, and my old lady will every day, because I'm sick of these dogs.
It sounds like y'all need more space, like more space in when y'all residents.
Yeah, we got a nice size house. Ain't no space. You need to get rid of these damn dogs.
All right, well, make one of them come up missing. You know what I mean?
No, don't do that, man.
Listen, this is what made me call this morning. I listen to this show every morning on my way to work, just like I'm doing now. Bro, I had a dream about poisoning them dogs last night. I said, boy, I might need to talk. I might need to call Charlamagne and talk to him, but there's something going on with my mental.
Did y'all have
having dreams about?
Did you and your wife have a conversation? Did you tell her how you feel?
Yeah, we had one a few months ago, and that turned into a big old argument. So I ain't trying to go there no more.
So why don't you buy one of them kid gates? You know the little kitty gates? Buy one of them little kitty gates and put the dogs in the kitty gates.
Got one. Charlotte, I don't want the dogs in the house. I don't care what kind of solution you're trying to give me.
All right, man.
So let me
I don't want the dogs in the house.
So let me tell you something.
That was all.
When you heard that they was when you heard the lie that they was eating cats and dogs in Ohio, did you smile a little bit? Did you think about taking a little trip?
Little bit.
Come on, man. You have a good one, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
Get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. Did y'all grow up with dogs?
No, I didn't grow up with dogs, but I have dogs now.
Charlamagne?
A couple.
Yeah.
Not like that, though. I had a couple Rottweilers when I was young. I had a bad experience because somebody poisoned my dog. Somebody got tired of my dog.
Damn.
I had 2 Rottweilers named Bear and Tara, and somebody got tired of Tara, and they poisoned the neighbors poisoned them. I can't prove that the neighbors poisoned them, but I feel like the neighbors poisoned them.
Damn.
And poor Tara, no, which one died? One of them died because they got poisoned. One of them got picked up by the dog people because he kept getting loose. And the neighbors kept calling
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yeah, I had shepherds all my life. My dad didn't believe in having a dog as a pet. If you had a dog need to have a job.
Oh, wow.
So you got to protect the house.
Yeah,
that was different. We ain't got no pets. He got to have a job. He going to protect this house. If not, we don't want no little dog. No, we want a dog.
I want a dog now. Yeah. My wife won't let me get one.
Oh.
Yep, I want to stop African boy.
Well, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, hit us up now. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club.
I'm dialing.
Hey, what you doing, man?
I'm dialing. I'm calling you.
This is your time to get it off your chest, whether you're mad or blessed. 800-585-1051. We want to hear from you on The Breakfast Club.
Hello, who's this?
This is Steve from the 803, leaving a late night booty call, doing the walk of shame, a.k.a. the ride of shame home.
So you stink right now.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that got a good point. You know what? But actually, I don't, because I don't eat meat, and I don't really have an odor like it, to be honest.
Hey, asparagus stink. That man say that asparagus stink when you pee now.
Yeah.
Don't act like that.
But was it a good night at least?
Yeah, asparagus do. It was a good night, but check this out. Before we get into my good night, go to my TikTok page. Not you, but y'all 5 million listeners. Kafis Content. KAFIS. Now get back to the late night booty call. What's up?
No, well, I just asked if you enjoyed yourself. That's all.
It.
Oh, I always do though.
Okay.
This is a regular boo. This something new. This something new, or this a regular boo?
No, it's a regular boo. And listen, I was a virgin until I met him, and then I had 2 kids already. But I was a virgin until I met him because I never knew.
Oh.
DJ Envy, I knew what Gia was missing out on. I never knew.
Jesus. Well,
hold on, she said she was a virgin until she met. Oh, because you had 2 kids, but you never had an orgasm.
Correct.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I kind of did have an orgasm. I just didn't know sex was as good.
Okay.
all right.
Yes, while I'm late night creeping on a weekday, and I got to be to work in an hour.
Where
That
your
is
kids at?
crazy.
And still got to,
Where your kids at?
my oldest son home. My son like 31 and my daughter 10.
How far is the drive? Where you driving from? Where your booty call at?
Fairfield Road. You know where Fairfield Road is?
Yes, I do.
To Rosewood.
Yes.
To the fairground.
That ain't too far.
It ain't too far. It's like, ain't no traffic on the road. You're talking about
20
12 to 15 minutes.
12 to 15? Okay.
Well, get your ass back home. You got to be working a little bit.
Right.
Right.
You better get
Good
home.
morning, Breakfast Club.
That's right. And make
Good
sure
day.
you get home in time to take a shower.
Now, brush your teeth before you kiss that
Of course.
10-year-old, too.
You go in there smelling like
Come
Buddhism.
on, stop.
You don't want to smell like Buddhism
Stop
now.
playing with me. Stop playing with me. I told you I don't have an odor. I don't eat meat.
Okay.
Stop playing with me.
All right, Stinky.
Goodbye.
Everybody that why people that stink can never smell themselves.
We don't know what she do.
Well, I
I thought I hung up on her.
Hey, yo.
Get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, hit us up now. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. Jess is out today. Lauren's holding it down. And, of course, we got our niece Nala here. And we got a special guest in the building, the brother Teddy Swims.
Hey, man.
How you feeling, man?
Swims.
I'm so honored to be here, man. I'm pumped.
Nah, man, happy to have you
I'm
here.
really
Absolutely.
excited, dude. We did our album release party last night, though. So, again, excuse my drinking for.
You don't have to
30 days.
excuse
Oh, good.
yourself for drinking early in the morning. You see that one over there?
Let's cheers
That's what
to
she
your
does.
new release
That's her
and all of your
She does it
success and your
every day.
baby on the way.
For my baby on the way, yeah.
Yes.
I have one on the way. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're drinking with a pregnant man. It's early.
Tell us about yourself, Teddy.
Man, that's so loaded. I'm from Georgia, from about 30 minutes east of Atlanta in Conyers, Georgia,
Okay.
Rockdale County, and I like singing songs, and I'm a good boy.
You have a very soulful voice. Did you grow up in the church?
Yeah, so my granddad was a Pentecostal pastor. I didn't grow up singing in the church a lot, but I definitely grew up with fire and brimstone for sure, man. With the fear of God. Yeah, you know what I mean.
You're afraid to sin?
Oh no, not these days. I mean, but,
I'm just talking about like back in the day. Was it like a very religious household?
Like girls don't get haircuts. Girls wear skirts, men wear jeans, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it was real kind of tight. And I'm very fortunate. I guess I feel like I still subscribe to so many of the principles of even the beliefs aren't there. I do love that my granddad was. As I was growing up with my granddad, he was like, we wouldn't even go to restaurants that would have a bar in the restaurant, and not that he ever had a problem drinking, but it was just, he stood on his belief so much. The thing that I was always with him was that I didn't subscribe to the idea that like telling people that they're wrong and this is the only way to believe something. I remember he'd look at other churches and be like, think that the only way he believed it was right. I remember the first time I sang at his church, I might have been 17 or 16 or something, and I remember him saying like, I want you to sing at the church, bud, but man, all these kids are like break dancing and carrying on for the Lord, and I was like, yo, Pop, like nobody's broke danced since like my mom was a child. You're so and if they want to break dance for the Lord, Pop, like let them break dance for the Lord. So he was very stern, like just by the book. If it wasn't in the Bible, then it was a sin. You know what I mean?
So were you rebellious?
Yeah, hell yeah. My mom was worse than I was. I remember getting in trouble for all sorts of shit and being like, I'm not doing any of that. She thought I was doing all sorts of mess. And but she was a pastor's kid. My mother was the.
But I wanted to, when you talk about rebellious, you started off playing football, all right? So
yes, sir.
I heard your family was a big football family. So what got you from football to singing?
My dear friend Jesse.
Like a nose guard. I can see that.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah,
that's what you play. No.
Yeah, and an offensive guard as well. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and but I just 5'7" wasn't really happening.
You were in high school, middle school at the time.
Yeah, but I've been 5'7" since I was in 8th grade.
Okay, right.
And so they thought I was gonna be big, and then it
didn't happen.
Guys started shooting up to 6'2" and 3, and I whooped my ass off the line.
So
after
what got
that,
you into arts, like to
so my dear
acting
friend
and singing?
Jesse, who still plays with me, I've known him since I was a little kid. His dad was always in bands and stuff, so we started trying to experiment and play music and stuff. And his older sister was in musical theater and got us into musical theater, and I just kind of fell in love with singing, and I was hooked. The singing has changed my life. I wasn't good always, but I fell in love with it, and I remember telling my mom that I was gonna not do football anymore and I was gonna sing, and she was so hurt, like brought out all my memorabilia, like, I can't believe you do this to us. We've been playing football, And I remember my first we did this show called Damn Yankees. I did like 2 lines in it, I think. And after I got done, I come off stage and she was like, I'm so sorry, baby. This is where you belong.
Really?
You're a star. After I did like 2 lines, but it was.
What do you mean by you weren't always good at it? Like, how do you sound amazing?
So bad. We were so bad at it.
You was in a group?
Well, no, just me and my buddy Jesse. He still plays guitar, writes, and he plays guitar in my band still. And as we were learning and trying to build bands together and do it as kids, we just were really bad. We sucked. Like, we're just not good. You can still find, actually, on YouTube. I was a senior in high school. My first band, Heroic Bear, is still on YouTube. Our first little EP, and I was in like a metalcore band at the time. And so you can still hear me like screaming away and like singing. And if you want to hear it,
guys. You know the routine.
If you hear it, dude, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, you got good. Yeah,
did you get lessons or did you practice, or how did you get so good?
Well, I think I was so lucky. I was in theater, and I had a lot of good friends and that were singing. But I think the biggest thing was growing up in when the YouTube era was first kind of starting, And if I had questions or if I wanted to know how to sing, there was always a live version of singers singing, Right. So like I could watch like live videos of how are they moving their throat, how are they moving their jaws, how are they.
Oh, yo, that was crazy.
And I could dissect it, I could just sit there and watch YouTube videos and see people singing live, like singing, Craig David singing, like, and Credit Recovery. I would pull up like a YouTube proxy and just have it behind the video and just like listen to Craig David. Just I'm walking away from troubles in my. I could listen to live videos and watch them play, and sing. And it was like.
Do you think you like saw somebody like Craig David and like mimicked him, and that's how you found your voice?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Some of the best, man. Some of the best that ever did it. Marvin Gaye, watching Otis Redding, man. Listening to Al Green. I just fell in love with the instrument, and I was like, I want to know how to access that.
And then you started doing these covers, right? And you started covering songs, and then you did one cover that started shooting up crazy. So talk about that a little bit.
Oh, I think Shania Twain, Still the One was that was the one that really kind of went crazy for us. I love my mama, and my mama loved Shania Twain when I was coming up. I love Shania Twain too. That was a real life changing one for us. Our first one we started out with was because June 25th of 2019 was the first time I never even suspected doing covers, online, and we had found like the stems of Rock With You online. And,
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and so it was 10 years right after he passed. It was his 10-year anniversary, and so I was like, man, we should just do Rock With You by Michael Jackson just to pay homage to him and for the, and we uploaded it and it started doing well, and it was like, man, we should just keep this cover train kind of going. So we kept on for, the next few months. And I think the beautiful thing about starting with Rock With You, it started getting, like I said, the first day we woke up, we had like 10,000 views, and it was so life-changing for us. We're like, boys, we're getting hammered. This is sick. And it was such a weird thing because once it hit like this critical mass of like maybe 500,000 views, I think people were looking at it as seeing the way I look and then seeing the Rock With You, and saying Rock With You by Michael Jackson and me, and I'm looking like an absolute redneck and saying like, either this is hilarious or this is actually really good. And I think for our benefit, it was kind of both, you know, because just the fact that I was singing that song but doing it well was kind of funny and surprisingly good.
Now, Teddy, why have you tried everything but therapy?
Well, I've tried therapy now, sir. Okay. So, you know, even as we're getting ready to have a kid, me and my girls have been doing even couples therapy too, which has been so wonderful, and making sure we're coming in and having this child in the most healed, safest environment possible. But I think naming the album that was kind of to have that conversation and with myself to get myself to go. I think there's just like been in generations past, and even still, there's this like connotation on therapy that we're not allowed to go to that, or we're not allowed to share our feelings or emotions,
especially men.
Yeah. You know, and I just, it's been life-changing for me. And I did have even this in my brain that I was like, I'm not crazy. I don't need that. You know, I had this for so long that I was like, I know myself. I don't need nobody to tell me what's wrong with me. You know, and I feel like once I got it to it, it was so much different than I thought it would be too. And I feel like there was something beautiful about having that first album and not trying it and being in a place of turmoil and heartbreak with somebody that made me feel like my feelings were invalid or not allowed to have, and having this part 2 coming out and being this thing of, I've tried therapy, I'm back in love, I'm having a child, I'm got some level of success in this, and you know, on the back of heartbreak, it does get better on the other side. You know,
Teddy Swims is here. Charlamagne,
can we talk about some of this music on this new album?
Sure, I'd love to.
Not Your Man is a very vulnerable record.
Thank you, sir.
Have you ever really felt like you gave everything to a woman and it wasn't enough?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I think it was important to start this one out like that, because I wrote this forever ago. I was in a place with somebody where it's hard. I don't want to talk about her in a way that, because as I've grown and healed and moved on, I thank her for what we went through, you know, and I'm grateful for that time and space that we had together. And I was in a place, where I felt like I was given everything, and my feelings and I was not validated, or it was not enough, or I was crazy for feeling this way, or I was abusive situation. I don't want to say it loud.
Emotionally abusive?
Both, man. Physically, she was just not good. She was not a good person, and I want the best for her. But yeah, it was a very tough thing to try to heal somebody, try to make space for someone to heal, try to give somebody everything. You would think if you had a passion, I'll just make it like this: you had a passion in your life, and you had somebody in your life that says you can quit your job and just focus on your passion. I'll take care of the rest. You got it. And you don't do anything with your life, but you just eat Xanax all day and lay around and blame somebody for your shortcomings when you had the opportunity to follow your dream, and somebody that would support you in your dreams. And you'd be like so surprised to see if somebody had the opportunity to follow their dreams and they had everything taken care of, how many people would be like, oh, if everything's taken care of, I'm not gonna do anymore. And you can't put ambition and drive into somebody. You can't heal nobody. You can't save nobody. And I've started to go on that tangent, but
from that situation, do you feel like you no longer enable? Because it's like, though you want to do something out of love to better somebody, sometimes it's to their own detriment.
Yeah, I think it was an enabling at the end of the day. You know, I was doing something to help someone become, but I think at the end of the day, I was enabling somebody to do nothing. And if that was inside of them, I was enabling that. And I think it's a common pattern, you know, but yes, I'm trying to heal and learn to see somebody for who they are and not who I want them to be or think they should be.
I can tell you got a big heart, but people will take advantage of it.
Hell yeah. And I'm so grateful to be, I don't want to say I'm grateful to be taken advantage of. I'm grateful to be available.
Everybody's going to use you, but don't let people misuse you.
Amen. Yeah.
I have a last question for you. I was reading this interview. You talked about, because your girlfriend's black, and you talked about like when you guys are in the South, you get like looks from people and like it bothers you because love should be love. But you're about to bring a baby into the world. You're so positive. She seems so amazing, but the world is not always like that. Like, how do you defeat that? Because you're really a really nice person. Like, it breaks my heart.
I mean, you know, I hate how much she's go through. And so her dad's black and her mom's white. So she tells me about stuff all the time about, like, you know, how she felt not white enough or not black enough, and how much her like world in her life has been such a, I guess, like a juxtaposition in both sides, you know, never feeling like she wasn't quite accepted by either side, you know. And so this is not a story. I won't tell you her story because she's better at saying it than I will. I'll never tell you her story, but I see how beautiful she is and how, I guess, how like elegant she navigates being who she is, you know. And she's the most incredible human being I've ever met, man.
I got a good counselor for y'all to talk to.
I would love that.
Dr. Umar Johnson. Like,
my God.
You don't want to talk to him.
No.
Listen.
Come back this way. Focus over here. Don't.
Speaking of black and white,
no.
the song with Money Long.
Yes, sir.
That title's a little on the nose, don't you think?
Yeah. I think that the point of it was kind of to the core of love in itself is black and white. Like it's a black and white issue. Love is love, and not love is not love. And loving, whether it's a person of a different color, shape, size, sexuality, same sex, whatever it is, I think that the thing was trying to say that we, no matter what, we could come from different worlds. It's a true, I guess, Romeo and Juliet story, you know, kind of is the basis of it, is that, like, you know, we come from different places, we come from different cultures, we have different things, but when you're in love, man, love is love, and that should be enough. And that's really, there ain't nothing great about that, man. That's just love, you know. Love is love, baby, you know.
I love that record, and it's a good stamp because, you know, Money Long recently went viral for saying she's not writing soulful songs for white artists. Did you see that?
I did not. Oh, okay. I'm glad I got that one before she said
exactly.
When did she do that song? Was that did she do that a while ago? Or?
Yeah, we did it. It's had to be a few months ago now. My dear friend Jeff Kitty and Mickey Echo was a part of it with us too, and we like started working on it. And I remember Jeff Kitty has been working with Money for long years and years, and he's like, "Man, should we see if Money wants to do this song with us?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, we'd kind of like to do a record like this. We would kind of need that, you know." I would be so stoked if she'd be willing to, because I knew what I kind of wanted to say, but also I can't say that, you know, without having Money help me say that, you know, but also without like relying too much. I think we needed to say that together, and so I'm just grateful she took that opportunity to say, "I see what you're trying to say. I'll have you say that," you know, and said it with me. And I think I'm so grateful for her, because Money's just a legend, man. What a badass man.
Now, you also said you wanted to meet one of your musical idols, were Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Did you ever get an opportunity?
Yeah,
to meet?
you know, we haven't met in person, but I
FaceTimed you.
Yeah. And I got a chance to do a record with him too. So I think he's gonna put out his next record. I hope so. I hope it's gonna come out. I'm really excited. It's a good record. It's called Politic Player. And wow. Which is such an honor to be on a Stevie Wonder record. But yeah, he did FaceTime. I'll tell you about it. It's so funny, man. He FaceTime.
Did he hold the camera up himself?
Yeah, and here's the thing. He is actually blind, y'all. This is true life. He was blind. I'm saying people say it. There's a conspiracy that he's not, and he is.
You see him pick up the mic that fell?
Look, I'm telling you, I was on the phone with I was FaceTiming this man, and he said, he had put the camera around, he said, "This is my son over here," and then he said, "I'm over here, Dad." He's pulled over here, and he said, "And this is my niece," and then he had phone facing her, and for the next 10 minutes of the conversation, I look, as far as you are, I looked at his niece, and not him at all. And he was holding the camera like he thought I was seeing him. And I did not have the heart to.
He's blind.
She was sitting there.
Confirmation that Stevie Wonder is blind.
She was sitting there texting on her phone. I didn't have the heart to say, "Hey, I can't see you, bro." Well, you know, my dumbass, the reason he called me, because I was in Tokyo, right? I was in Tokyo, and I had found my favorite album of all time, best album ever, Songs in the Key of Life. I found a CD of it. It was a Tokyo version of it, like the Japanese version of it. And my dumbass texted him a picture of it.
Oh my goodness!
Like an idiot. Like he was gonna see it. Right. Like I just texted him. Guess what I found, bro? Guess what I found, bro?
What did he say?
He just FaceTimed me. So I was like, and my dumbass too was like, "Did you give him a text?" He didn't see it, bro.
I don't think so.
So I just to put all those things to rest. That
You
he's
to be
not
the person
blind.
to shut down the rumors is crazy.
Oh my
all
goodness.
these years, black people been trying to figure this out, and you are the one that solved the problem.
I just know I was looking at his niece for about 15 minutes. So
well, there you have it.
Teddy swims, y'all.
We appreciate you for joining us. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Steady calling my phone.
It's topic time. Call 800-585-1051 to join into the discussion with the Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. If you just joining us, we open up the phone lines 800-585-1051. We're talking about older men dating these younger women. And when I say younger women, I'm talking about teens or late or early 20s, I should say.
No. When I'm talking about younger women, I'm talking about these guys that are 30 years, these people seniors. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I think when you 50-something years old and you dating a 20-year-old, that's ridiculous to me. And I'm consistent.
That's what I'm
with
talking
that.
about. Teenagers, 18, 19, early 20s.
I'm talking about
somebody could be 32 dating a 60-year-old, and are you cool with that?
You said what?
A 35-year-old dating a 65-year-old man or a 60-year-old man.
Yeah, I think that's even more because this man's 60 plus years old. Yeah. So
but at least a 30 plus year old woman at least lived a little bit.
You're right. Like you're a grown ass woman.
You're a grown ass woman.
So it's not the difference. We're talking about
I'm
early
actually
20s.
looking at her a little crazy. Like, man, what you want with that old ass man? He must be rich.
Well, right. Well, let's ask Jess. Jess, you said you dated a 49-year-old man. And you were at what age?
I was 23.
Why?
Just
money.
Yeah. He did.
You about to lie, trying to make up something.
I was not about to lie. Damn. I was not about to lie. I was really about to say, yeah, he had money. And I always had like a little old soul or whatever. You know what I mean? And I met him at the car dealership. And
bought you a car?
No, he ain't buy me no car. But he helped me with the down. Period. That's why I met him.
Down payment.
Huh?
He helped you with the down payment?
He helped me with the down payment.
How much?
And I think the down payment, I was getting like a little Honda. It might have been like $5,000 or something, but I act like I ain't have it all. And he was like, oh, well, you know, and
how much did he give you?
He gave me like $3,000.
Oh,
I had like,
my God.
And how long were you with him, dating him?
For like 6 or 7 months. It really wasn't long, but I broke it off. Not even him. I broke it off because you get in like relationships with older guys as a young woman because you think, oh, this gonna help me grow up, or I'm doing something that ain't nobody else doing. I mean, and he's very childish. He was childish. You automatically just think because you date an older guy that they're gonna have it all together. They're wise, that they can teach you things.
Did he try to
things.
do those things on you? Like, nah, I know what I'm doing. Do this. Did he try to be like treat you like a child or no?
Yeah, until he realized that he couldn't do that.
Got you.
And then that made me even more attractive to him. Like he liked that. He was like, oh, okay, so you're not a young dummy. You smart. Now let me show you how dumb I am. It was just weird. Like I was like, oh no, I can't. Like he was very childish and stuff. He didn't know how to have sex. He didn't know how to get the box. I was like, oh my God, you too old to not know these things. And I started dating back in my age bracket.
You probably know like these don't taste the way they used to.
Damn sure ain't saying about me.
The ones from my era used to taste a whole lot different.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I just think it's corny. There's no way you should be dating a woman who was in somebody's womb when you was 30.
Yeah.
Okay. And imagine being 30 years old, standing over a crib with your out. Like that just looks crazy to me.
That sounds wild.
But that's how you should look at it. Why are you 50? If you 50 plus years old dating a 20-year-old, that makes no sense to me. I don't know why men have not grown out of that. I love discipline. I love stability. I love having a family. If you 50 plus years old, you should be kicked up. You have your feet kicked up at home. You got your wife over here. You got your kids over here. Why are you chasing these young girls?
I disagree with that, standing over the crib with your out like that. Now listen, the only way I would think about it like that is if we're around the way and you seen this girl grow up and you waited for her to get a certain age, like 19, 18, something like that, to date her. Then I get that notion of it. But to these, if you're just an older man and you see a younger looking woman, whatever, it's like, all right, they are attracted to young women, but that's different. I'm not about to think about it as I'm standing over a damn crib with my I'm like, watch this little girl grow up. Then I jump.
I will say this: everybody's not made for marriage, right?
Yeah.
He was married and didn't enjoy it, so he wants to be a bachelor, and I'm not mad at that. But I look at it a little different. Charlamagne, you got 4 daughters. I got 4 daughters. I don't want my 21, 19, 22, 23-year-old daughter dating a 54-year-old man.
Why?
There's nothing in common. The only thing I feel like you dating that young is because you want to control. That's my mentality. Yeah. But there's nothing, I don't see nothing wrong with. If he want to be a bachelor, he can be a bachelor. Maybe he's just not made for the marriage life.
Be a bachelor with somebody your age. Go get you a nice 40-something-year-old.
And exactly what you said. He want to control because that guy at that dealership gave me $3,000 because he just knew she green. Now I'm going to control her. And did not.
He didn't know he was dealing with Jess from Baltimore.
Go find somebody that can help you regulate your cholesterol. Go find somebody that they dealing with their blood pressure too. Right. Go find somebody that can recognize the signs of a stroke.
I gotta go get a colonoscopy. You don't know what that is. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, who is Calvin? You like, who is Calvin?
Who's Calvin? Hello, who's this?
Hey, this is Key. How y'all doing?
I'm good, Key.
How old are you, Key?
No, hold on. It says Key was 17 dating a 40-year-old man?
Come on, man.
Oh,
what are you talking
wow,
about?
Key.
He was 40-something, a little bit older than 40.
And y'all got married. Break that down.
Yeah, we ended up getting married. We have 3 beautiful children together. We are no longer together.
Because he's dead.
He's dead.
Oh, my God. Is he dead?
No, he's almost 61, still dating younger women.
What state are y'all in that was legal?
Huh?
What state are y'all in that was legal?
It wasn't Virginia.
But you said y'all got married.
But they got married probably when she
Right,
got
we
of
didn't
age.
get married until I was like 22.
Oh, duh. Okay, you're right.
So, long story short, it was very hard. My early 20s to mid 20s was very hard, very depressing. He was very controlling. Was always gone out doing what he wanted to do while I was at home taking care of our kids. It was really hard. It was something that I would not recommend any young woman ever doing.
Was he very controlling?
Yeah, she said
Of course. He was. It was a domestic violence situation. So
sorry.
I definitely finally got the courage to leave because I didn't want my children to keep on, seeing that. Didn't want them to think that that's normal. And it affected our oldest son. He's 15 now. I had to put him in therapy because, it was just horrible.
And he's seen a lot of things, yeah.
Yeah, thank God that I had to pray my way out of that situation because I was really in love with him.
Damn. Where was your father at this time? Was your dad around?
So yeah, let me protect my parents. My parents are both retired Army, and they were both overseas fighting the war in Iraq. So I was in Virginia with my grandmother. But I was at work when I met him. So it's not like my grandma just let me do whatever. I was at work in a legitimate place. And, he took that opportunity to,
Yeah.
And he used to come pick me up from high school and everything. Like,
jeez.
I don't know how I got out of high school. You're supposed to get signed out. So,
he was definitely old enough to sign your ass out.
That's wow.
Crazy. But
thank you for sharing your story.
I'm happy that you're still here and that you are out of that situation.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't want my kids to think that was normal. So
yeah.
Well, thank you, Key.
And he's a horrible father. So
Jesus.
And that means he's a horrible grandfather too.
Yeah, he is. He's horrible.
All right, Key.
The moral of the story is I know y'all like to be out here bragging about smashing these young girls, but that's not a flex to me. You know what I'm saying? You 54 years old, in your 50s, you should be laid up with your wife and kids. Or at least be with women that's close to your age. Like, that's me.
Yeah.
And I'm consistent with that. I said that when Diddy was out here with Young Miami and, Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know what y'all see in these young girls. I need somebody that know at least 6 members of Wu-Tang.
At least 6 members.
Straight up.
It was 6 of them?
Yo,
oh my goodness.
I ever told y'all this story about how years ago, I'm not going to say his name, but there was a record rep, and he was talking to me about how, man, I tried to talk to one of these young girls, and she was real smart. And I said to her, you a regular Doogie Howser. And she was like, who is Doogie Howser?
Jess don't know who Doogie Howser is.
No, I don't.
Exactly. You know who Doogie Howser is?
Loren don't know either.
No. Okay. See? Exactly.
See?
Yeah, I'm not
a regular Doogie Howser. Now tell me, what's a Doogie Howser?
Doogie Howser was a hit sitcom back in the day that Neil Patrick Harris.
My grandma has said
I know Neil Patrick Harris.
My
grandmama said that to me.
You got the latest coming up. You see what I'm saying?
But I would tell everybody out there that's thinking about it, just imagine when you have daughters. Would you want your daughters to date a 54-year-old man at the age of 19?
Imagine being 30, butt naked, standing over somebody's crib. That's what you should be thinking about when you out here ready to holler at these 20-something-year-old girls when you 50 plus. Cut it out.
If you just joined us, there's context. I swear there's context.
I promise it is.
Yeah, it's the Breakfast Club in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. LoRosa is here with us, and we got some special guests in the building this morning.
The host of the new show Friday Night Vibes on TBS. Well, the new host of Friday Night Vibes on TBS.
Dina Parker, KevOnStage. Welcome, y'all. How you feeling?
I feel good, man. I brought that up because Kev didn't talk about that last time he was here, and I saw Nina and Chance. And Nina was like, I don't know why he was up there and did not mention that we are the new host of Friday Night Vibes.
Men be having tunnel vision. So you got all these other projects. I watched the interview and I was so excited. I was like, I can't wait till he mentions Friday Night Vibes because we were in the middle of filming Friday Night Vibes.
As soon as I got home, I said, man, what did I
nothing
I
about
said,
it.
man, Friday Night Vibes.
And I had just did Taryn Hall and I was like, Kev, I mentioned you and shouted you out. They showed your picture on the back.
Wow.
And
I'm
I
being
said,
gaslit. First of all, I
feel attacked. Wow. I'm being gaslit. I said it first, so it means it's true.
Maybe that's just who you are, because one of your best friends was up here.
What is
happening? Just right here. And when we told him that you were coming, he was like, he didn't even tell me he was here in New York.
Tony
Are y'all
Baker,
really best friends?
He was like, we were playing pool.
What is friendship?
And he never said, what is friendship?
We saw him and we saw Tony just in the green room. I was like, what are you doing here?
Tony didn't tell me he was doing the Breakfast Club.
But men don't share details like that. Like, if it would have been me and my homegirl, we would have been like at the hotel having breakfast before we came over. I feel like y'all just see each other when you see each other.
But you know Tony had a show in New York?
I did know that.
Yep.
I got tickets to his show.
Oh, you was going to surprise him?
Yeah, I was going to pull up on him.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
You bought the tickets or he gave you the tickets because he's a friend?
I always buy my tickets.
Oh, okay.
I don't even play that.
I love
I'm
that.
not trying to hear it. Don't hit me. Because people you ain't even cool with, like, what's up on the tickets? KevOnStage.com is what's up with them. My parents buy tickets to my show.
Yeah,
and
they say I
make
want to
them
support,
like,
but then they want you to give them the ticket.
No, that ain't support.
Your parents buy tickets to your show?
My parents refuse to get free tickets. They're like, I believe in you and what you're doing. I'll go get tickets.
They know you made it, though, right? It's no bullshit.
They just want to make sure. They want to make sure they don't got loan you no money ever again.
No, well, yes, exactly. They're like, you keep doing good, son. You know what I'm saying? I need you to make it.
How you know they're not just testing you, just to see if you're going to say, no, y'all done enough. I got you.
No, I'm going to fail that test.
You don't ever come from tickets?
No, man.
I failed that test.
Out. They buy them. They support them.
Now I know for the next show. I got
But
I'm on my own. I'm on my own.
My friends, I don't mind. It's people I don't know. We ain't got no relationship. You trying to get the free tickets, man? Nah.
Oh, okay.
It's like a hookup. When I work in Popeyes, I give my friends a hookup. Not everybody. Like, okay, what's up with the biscuits? You see the price?
That's true. How did this come together?
You know what's crazy? We actually chem tested together. Kev and I knew each other only on social media. Like, I was a fan of his work, but we had never met. So we would, exchange on social media. And then, the show used to be hosted by Tiffany Haddish and Deion Cole.
Yep,
they were revamping it. And so they did like a big casting call. So when we got called, and sometimes when you get to a certain level, you're like, oh, I still got a chem test. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, so we did the chem test. And it was actually like a family reunion. It was about 15 women, 15 men.
Yeah.
And we were chem testing with our friends. So it was like a big, we actually were too loud. We got in trouble.
It took all day long.
Yeah.
It was like you spend 5 minutes with this person, and then, okay, y'all done, and this person.
Yeah.
And when Nina and I went, it was like, this sounds cliche, but I was like, I forgot we were even auditioning. We were just chopping it up. And they stopped us. We were like, okay, cool.
I was like, we got this. Like, there's sometimes I feel like you get that little voice, when you're in this industry, you just know when something is magic.
Absolutely.
And we were sitting next to each other, and it was so easy with him. And I've had a lot of co-hosts over the years, and Kev is by far like the easiest person I've ever worked with.
Oh, thank you.
That's the ultimate compliment, by the way.
It's not to him, it's to his wife, Melissa.
Hey, Melissa.
Because his wife he knows how to. There's a dance, as you guys know, and then when you have like a co-host who knows how to communicate in a healthy way with a woman, it's just like, even like he'll be like, "Do you need to sit?" I'm like, "What?" Because I'm used to people being like, "Get out the way." Yeah. And it's just, he's very kind, so it just makes it so easy to work with.
But also, Nina, go ahead, Charlamagne.
No, I was going to say, I tell people that all the time. When somebody says you're easy to work with, that's beautiful. And when somebody says you're a pleasure to work with, you will always work.
Yeah, because it's the work is hard.
Yeah.
So talent is evenly distributed, in LA, New York, but good people to work with is not so much. And then it's already stressful. You got early call times and all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you're also a jerk on top of that, it's like, bro, I don't even want to do it.
Because life be life, and as you know, so it's like, it's hard to get on it and have to like turn all of that off, in filming. So when you have somebody that's like, Kev is really like my real life brother. I really love him. I love his wife. Like, we have dinners. Like, it truly doesn't feel like work. So we just be cutting up. And, this show really allowed me to like be funny and like really tap into, because I feel like I've done so much formal journalism. This was like this was more vulnerable. And Kev is more my coach sometimes, where he's like, just say it. Like, no, because I'm so trained that sometimes it's a little bit more stiff. So he's like, just say it. They ain't gonna care.
Yeah, and Nina helped me too, because I had never done official TV, never worked off a prompter before. So the first day I was like, dang, man, there's a lot of pressure, and you can't really mess up. It's time for you to do your job right.
Right.
And he was like, oh, it's all good. Here's how you do it. Let's run through it once. And Nina, man, let me tell you what, she big sis for real. Because when I don't be want to do stuff, she'll be like, we ain't doing that, y'all. We are doing this. Like, you can tell she's been in the game for a long time. Yeah. Never rude or anything like that, but she knows how to assert herself, and people respect her for that. And I'm more of like, I ain't never done this, so whatever y'all say is cool.
But also when you've done it a long time, you know when people are padding time. Like you're like, we don't need, we got this. We can just roll through this. Like y'all ain't gotta baby us. Like we gonna come in, we gonna knock this out, and we gonna go home. Everybody gonna get home on time. You ain't gotta pay overtime. Like let's go.
Is it hard for you, Kev, being on a production that you don't control?
No. Low key, actually, it's freeing. Because
you like being told what to do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he likes it.
There's a certain amount of stress when you control it. Like the talent is just one aspect. Then you got to worry about the budget and the control and the edit and the delivery. Friday Night Vibes, brother, when it's over, all right, y'all, see y'all tomorrow. Like, and it is a welcome reprieve from having to do. I don't want to have to worry about post, edit, deliveries, time code. S&P.
Leave it at the door.
Leave it at the door. Coffee, yes. What time is lunch? Okay, perfect. See y'all tomorrow. I just come on time, do my job, chop it up with Nina. Yeah. I knew we was cool. Nina let me in her, she was getting braided down. She was like, come on, dress in my hair.
Yeah, y'all real friends now.
I said, as a black man, you let me see the breakdown? That's real. The breakdown is intimate. Come in real quick, close the door.
It is.
I'm getting braided down.
Close that door now.
No, that's why I think that camaraderie and chemistry from the audition through the show, it just carries on throughout. And then that's why the show feels so natural. Our guests come on, they feel really natural with us. You know what I'm saying? So,
and it doubled the rating. So we did the first season, we only had like 12 episodes. So it was just the first Friday of every month, which right now, TV is very difficult. They actually doubled our episode order because they were saying that our interviews with each other and with our guests were spiking over the movies. So so I mean, listen, to get a double order during this time, we feel very blessed.
We're still kicking it with Nina Parker and Kev on stage. Their new show, Friday Night Vibes, is on TBS. Loren.
I was going to ask you, Nina, because for us in the journalism world, you talked about working in hard journalism. I know you come from TMZ.
Yeah.
Your career and how you've been able to diversify your resume, we all watch it like how? Because it is hard when you're such a journalist to do things where they allow you to show your personality. What was your first lesson in like, I even want to try to diversify?
Well, my first lesson was I got fired. And, as you know, it's like...
You got fired from TMZ?
Well, I got fired my first week from TMZ.
I didn't know that.
So my first...
You
I got fired.
Huh? You feel the pain?
I'm going to let her talk her story and then we'll
fired twice. So the first time I got fired was my first week in TMZ. I just moved to LA and I was not even a PA yet. I was a runner. I didn't know anybody in LA. I literally got the job by emailing contacts. They used to have like a contact TMZ and I just emailed and was like, I got a degree. Can I and they were like, you've been out the game for a little bit because I had stopped working in journalism. And so they were like, we'll make you a runner. You can get the lunches. Jesus. But this was before GPS. So I had like a Thomas guide.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm aging myself. Wow. Oh, lady. But I got lost. LA is very difficult to navigate. You like, why is there two San Vicentes? I don't know where to go. And so I got lost. So Paris Hilton got arrested. And I had to go get the tape from the paparazzi of her coming out of CNN for her first interview with Larry King.
Oh, my heart just dropped for you.
Yes.
You got lost with that tape.
And I got lost. And if you know, CNN was on Sunset. And I took Highland to get back to the Valley. And Harvey was like, why would you take Highland and not Cahuenga? What's wrong with you? You're fired. In front of everybody.
For taking Highland and not Cahuenga?
Oh,
yes.
Baby, what?
A street
because
choice?
A street choice.
Do you understand how that
is? And it's very different.
It's like
you live there and you know, like, this is before you could transfer digitally. You had to have the tape. So I cost them like 15, 20 minutes and they wanted it up first. So he fired me in front of the whole newsroom.
Wow.
And I went to the bathroom. I had only been in LA like 3 months. I went to the bathroom and I was crying. My ego kicked in. It was like, F this place. Go somewhere else. You don't need this place. And there was this really quiet voice that was like, just go apologize.
No.
And I went to my managing editor and Harvey was in his office. I went to the managing editor and I had been staying late every day. And I would just ask her if she needed anything. So if she needed her trash taken out, whatever, I would just stay late for hours just helping her, not getting paid. And I said, hey, I'm really sorry if I can work with you in the future. She was like, what are you talking about? And I said, oh, Harvey just fired me. And she goes, girl, sit down.
You do that every week.
And she went in his office and yelled at him. And I heard him say, will you take her? And she came back out and offered me a year contract and was like, do you want to be my writing PA?
Oh, wow.
And then that was in June of 2007. The show started in September of 2007. And by then he had heard me just talking. I would do my stories and talk out loud. And he thought I was funny. And he was like, I want you to pitch for the show. And I was like, no, I just want to write. He was like, I'm not asking you. you're going to get on the show. And that's really how it started. That was the first time I got fired. And I was just like, I'm going to just go for it. And I just was like, I'm not going to allow like one person to have the keys to like drive my car. Like I got to have these options open and I have to like eat my ego a little bit. And I think our ego gets us in a lot of trouble in this industry. There's a lot of misunderstandings that happen that you take it the wrong way. And I just learned to like drop that. And it's helped me.
Well, what got you fired for real?
I was fired from CBS.
CBS, okay.
They didn't renew my contract.
That's
so the
not really
contract, well, it's kind of firing, you know. Like it's like we're not having you back. I had like a 2-year contract, and it was the most money I had ever made because now I'm an official correspondent. I'm doing the red carpets, and I made all this money, and I blew it. I was buying bags. I remember I went on my first check and bought a Gucci and a Louis Vuitton bag. Just both, because I was making $450 a week at TMZ. Woo! Before taxes. Woo! So I wasn't making any money. So when I was getting the CBS money, I lost my damn mind. And I had bad credit. I had no financial literacy at all.
So you hate H&M too then? That's what you just had to be at Bloomingdale.
I had to be. And so when I lost the job, I was broke. Because I was, you know, even though I had money, I was spending every check. I was at the brunches, spending money like a drug dealer. I was just like, come on, let's get the bottles, you know, and just ridiculous. And what I realized was I thought to myself, I had to downsize everything. I got in a car accident. I lost my car. So I had to get a used car with the red light always on. Damn. And I had to get into a smaller apartment that was like a little bit more, you know, in a bad neighborhood. And I told myself, I was like, when I get my next thing, because I knew it was going to come, I educated myself on how to get good credit. I fixed my credit. I figured out what I needed to save. I was like, I need multiple income. I was talking to Kevin Frazier, who was at CBS, and he was kind of telling me like, you acting crazy. You know, I call him my toxic mentor because he would give me advice, but it was always like really harsh. And I was like, the next time I get it, and I got Love and Hip Hop reunions, and I just started saving everything. I started living under my means. So I was like, let me build this so that like I can have 2 years of income so that the next time I'm not going to let this network decide like whether I eat or not.
Do you, when you left, to go back a little bit, when you left TMZ, were you senior news producer? Where were you?
When I left TMZ, I did not have a job. I quit because they did not want to pay me.
Okay, because there's always been a conversation. I don't know. I was told this before I went there.
Okay.
So not even just internally, but just in the journalism world that you had been offered news director or something like that, but they didn't want to, like you thought you should have news director, but they didn't want to give it to you.
It wasn't news director, but what actually happened, I've never told anybody this. I accidentally got my coworker's check. And we were sitting next to, you know, TMZ would have the desk where there wasn't a divider. And they set his check next to me, and I was just opening it blindly, and he was making 6 figures. I was not. I was making well under that, and I had been there, and I was contributing. I was breaking stories. I was a part of Michael Jackson's death being broken. I was a part of major stories, Bernie Mac dying. I was the managing editor on weekends, so it was just me and Harvey in that office and a PA. I was in there working. I only had Wednesdays off. I gave up my weekends for 3 years. Wow. And I was like, I put in the work. It was my life. I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have friends. I wasn't going to the club. And I felt like I was owed this money. Right. I think I was maybe making like $50K.
Jesus.
And I just wanted what he was making.
And he's a white male, I'm
yes,
sure.
he was. And they were like, no. And I was on every show. And I was just like, y'all not going to pay me? And we went into a little negotiation, and I think maybe they offered me like 10% more. I did not have another job. I did not have an agent. And I was like, I quit.
Yeah.
I didn't have nothing. But I knew people liked me. And I reached out to a woman who used to be at Telepictures, and she had just got an SVP job at CBS. And I was like, she was like, hey, we have the Insider. Why don't you come test for the Insider? And so I went and tested for that, and I got the Insider.
Wow.
But I didn't have anything when I left TMZ. I didn't know what I was going to do. And the good thing about being young is, because I was still in my 20s at the time, you a little crazy. Yeah. So, you know, had I been this age, I might have been like, let me just figure something out. But now, you know, because I got bills now, big bills. But back then I was like, it ain't nothing for me to pack up this studio apartment. Yeah. I'll get on the couch.
That Bay Area came out.
That Bay Area was like, you ain't gonna trap me. And it was the best decision I could have made. I mean, I left really at the pinnacle. Van had just started. Like, it was really a good time to be there. And everybody told me not to quit. Everybody, like, socially, TMZ was really hot and like, because this is the Paris Hilton, Britney Spears era. So people were like, you're crazy to leave. But I was just like, this is not serving me. And they, not only that, like, this was before pay disparity was really a thing. So it was just accepted that the women take less. And I was like, I work harder than all these people up in here. And I'm a black woman. And I mean, when you guys started the Breakfast Club, that's how we met. We started emailing, like, it was like, I got this new show. I was like, we're going to put you on this show. And I've made a lot of contacts because I would reach out to black media and be like, get on our blog roll. Let me send you the breaking news. Like, I really cultivated, I still have all those relationships. Because I really was like, I can't prevent them from putting this story out about black people, but I can at least give our side. And if you call me, I'm going to give your side out there because they didn't care. They would just put it up. And so that was really, for me, like my time. So I was like, you're not going to pay me?
We're still kicking it with Nina Parker and Kev on Stage. Their new show, Friday Night Vibes, is on TBS. Was it toxic working there?
Envy. What?
I mean, listen, I've heard it's not like that anymore. I don't know. And this is one of the reasons you and I haven't talked, because I checked out of all things TMZ. I never watched the show again when I stopped. I stopped communicating. I'm not communicating with people I knew, but anything, like, I just kind of shut that part of my brain off because I had a lot of PTSD. And it was, you have to think about it. This was like the birth of new age media. There were no rules. So we would work like 14 hours a day. You would get in trouble for taking a lunch. You couldn't leave like your desk. You had to answer your phone at 4 a.m. It was, you would work weekends and you couldn't say no. People would walk around with their laptop. We would go to a concert. You have to have your laptop in your bag. Because if you got a call at 4 and you didn't answer, you would get fired.
It was over for you.
It was over for you. So, and I made the decision to participate in that because I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anything else. I didn't have a team. We were kind of deterred from getting a team. Like, you know, so the things I know now.
This is pre-HR there, too, because HR was new when I got there.
There was no HR.
No HR.
When I came to TMZ, HR was very new, and there was no the union things that come in when you have like a union protection. They got rid of it.
That didn't exist back then. Like, they had Telepictures that was the parent company that technically you could go, but you didn't know anybody there because they weren't, you only knew who was in the building. So it was really the Wild West. And when Michael Jackson died, I didn't leave the office for 3 days. Damn. Like, we slept there.
And that was your salary of $50,000 or less, whatever.
I mean, I think I was still making like the PA salary then, which was, I think I had got boosted to like $650 a week.
Crazy thing is, when Loren started working here, you ever see that dog that and I'm not comparing you to a dog, but that dog that when you get out the shelter, right? And you put your hand up to pet it and the dog is scared. That's how Loren was working here. That's how it was
for years.
Loren was like, wait a minute. You guys just said good job? Like, it was, I'm like, what? I thought she was joking. Then I realized, no, she was traumatized. Like, it was crazy.
I still won't tell her that.
No.
How long were you there?
I was at TMZ for 8 years. And when you come in, you hear, from the black people there, you hear so much about you. Van was always really big about, talking to me about you. He was there when I was there. So was Raquel. And then they left. And when they left, it was me. And I was like, what the heck?
At least you had the camaraderie.
But then they left.
Right.
And then George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery happened. And it was like, oh.
And you're fighting by yourself because there's a lot of microaggressions. There's macro too. And one of the things that was hard for me was like at the time, and this was before Van even got there, I was the only black person on camera. And so...
Ooh, really? You are so sisters.
Yes.
No, the story she told me, y'all sound...
And you feel an obligation, but sometimes you're tired. Right?
And you don't know what the heck you're supposed to be saying half the time.
But the thing is, with black talent especially, you don't have the luxury of being silent when it's a black issue because they're going to look at you in this room full of white people and wonder why you didn't say anything. They're not going to think about, like, I've been doing this every single day. I got a migraine. I'm tired. Like, I'm tired of arguing. I know they're race baiting me. They bait you on purpose. But at the same time, I'm like, I got to think about the people who are watching that look like me, that are like, Mina, why didn't you speak up? Right. But, as you age, fighting every day gets exhausting. And also when you're getting baited, because it's like, I don't mind having a healthy discussion, but you're purposely trying to bait me to have this conversation so you can have content. And I'm not really with that. And so you get tired of being used. You get tired of like women being talked about. You feel like I'm in this space. When I was there, it was very toxic. Like they had a relationship with Vivid because, of Kim Kardashian's sex tape, and Vivid would send like sex tapes in. And sometimes people would just watch them in the office. And it was like, you'd be like, what's going on? But then also you're like, well, what are my other options? And that's when you start to build these relationships. So you're like, I got to make an exit plan.
I had a I just want to say this real quick and then we can move away from TMZ because you have moved away. But I met you.
I'm finding out so much about you.
We've been in the trenches.
You ain't never said nothing about this.
I met you a long time ago in LA, and our interaction, you weren't rude, but it just wasn't the best. And when I was about to leave, Ben was like, "You should call Nina," and I was like, "I don't think she cares for me that much." And he was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well," and I told him, but now hearing I don't know if you even knew who I was, but if so, I'm thinking like maybe that I had nothing to do with that, but I'd never thought about this because when you're in that environment, you think it's regular, you think it's okay.
Right.
I never thought about like what your post life felt like mentally having to go through and deal with all of that.
What that got to do with you telling the world that Nina was rude to you?
No, I said she wasn't rude. It just wasn't the best.
Like, why would you do that?
The reason why I'm
you
saying that.
Said that off the head.
No, the reason why I want to say that is because now I'm sitting here and I felt your emotion just now when you were talking about your experience, and I identify with it so much, and it made me think about if I were to run into someone right in that same predicament, unknowingly I might not do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, you're reacting to the place, not the person.
Yes.
Right. And so you know, it's like if someone brings up a relationship that hurts you, you're kind of like, and especially if you're not in the space to like say you're not thinking about it and it jars you for a second where you're just like, and also I'm very media trained, right? So sometimes I don't want to speak bad on a place, and I don't know if my experience will be your experience.
Yeah.
So there's a lot I can't say to you without saying it, right?
Yes.
Where it's like, how do I tell this person they're in the trenches and like get out quickly?
Yes.
Because that may not be your journey. Yeah. So how do I say that to you because it's so nuanced? Mm-hmm. So it's just such a layered thing. So sometimes if like people come up and be like, I'm at TMZ, I'm kind of like,
exactly how it was. And
I'm like, I don't know what to tell you because it's only something you understand if you've been there. It's like being in a sorority.
Yes.
But at the same time, and I think I've just healed from being there probably within the last like 4 or 5 years. I have this thing now where my friends say I'm the fastest responder because you had to be this thing, right? Even now, I'm not really in news anymore. Like I'm a host for shows, and even now I feel like I got to look at these headlines. I'm like, what am I doing? I ain't posting about no news. I'm the first to post a tweet about it. Yeah. Like, what am I? So you have these things. So I don't remember the interaction, but I'll say that it was so traumatizing that sometimes it was hard to react positively about it.
Yeah.
And also, you know, as you grow, you learn how to temper that a little bit better. But I think probably when we met, I hadn't really quite learned how to do that yet.
It wasn't nothing crazy, but I felt your shock. I didn't understand. Yeah, I didn't understand what I felt until this moment. And I was like,
She wasn't messing with that click over there.
You never know what people are dealing with. But I didn't know because when we hear about your journey there, we just hear.
Well, I've never talked about this. Is the first time I think I've always said things positively because ultimately it was a positive experience because I have never learned. You learn kind of when you're in that. Because it's like the army.
Right.
But
I tell people it was the best boot camp I've ever been to.
It's the best boot camp. You'll never, and one thing I will say about Harvey is to this day, probably the hardest work ethic of anyone I have ever known in the industry. But you get a lot of trauma from it, and it's very difficult to express if you haven't been there. And then also it's like, I don't want to make that my story. So, when I'm meeting somebody and we're in a social setting, it's like, it's still now some people say, oh, I know you from TMZ. And I cringe a little bit, not because I'm ashamed of it, but I've done so much.
Yes.
But it's still something that's always associated with you and will always be, as you will know. It will always be, and there's going to be a time where you just don't want to hear about it because you've accomplished so much more.
Yes.
And so it's a little triggering when someone comes up to you and wants to talk about it, and you just like, it's like bringing up an ex that you don't deal with anymore.
Because what you really wanted to say to her probably was good luck or
Yeah, but you don't want to be negative because like, what am I supposed to say if you're in it? You know, like what am I supposed to tell you?
No, I mean, I needed the money, but I forget what was going on at the time. But I think this was one of the times where I've been wanting to quit, and I just didn't. People think you're crazy when you say that, and I was like, oh, Nina Parker, I could talk to her.
Yeah,
and then.
I wish we would have been introduced through Van because I would have loved to have talked to you one-on-one, like privately, and just really give you a good download. Because I know that you did reach out in DM, and I never even saw him because I wasn't following you, and I didn't even see him until I followed you. And I was like, dang, there's DMs in here, and I didn't even see this.
Girl, I was crying out for help.
This is gonna be my last thing about the PTSD. What I found is a lot of people who leave only find their worth in posting news because that's how you were rewarded. Then you could have been fired for not producing enough, so you find like your worth in producing stuff. That's why, like, when I left, I would be posting breaking news and I didn't even have an outlet to attribute it to. And what it allowed me to do when I took a step back was start to put more worth in, like, me, what I'm saying, and the other things. Because I was like, I don't even know if I really like news anymore. Like, I don't know if this is something I even enjoy anymore. Like, I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy XYZ. Like, what else can I dive into? And for you, what I would like to say is, and I think you're very good at it, but, you know, and I know you have other things that you like to, you know, get into. And I just don't want you to get caught up in this thing of, like, I have to produce to be valued, because it's like who you are that brings the value, not being first, because we kind of are taught to, like, we got to be first.
He was just yelling at me about that the other day.
What did you say, Nina? I heard you, but I don't want you to repeat that just one more time. Can you repeat that one more time?
I'm just saying the value is not in being first anymore, because this is what I have learned. It's what you're going to talk about that is valuable, because you're not technically in a news place that has to be first.
It just sometimes you.
When did you hear that? Did you hear that this week?
I feel like 2 days ago. That's what makes you special. The sense of urgency is what makes you special, because you care, and that's important. But I think people care just they want to know that these days everybody can get it anywhere. They want your take on it.
That's right.
So,
and you were correct, and everybody else was wrong.
Yeah,
I know I was correct.
But you had to be first.
She wasn't correct.
Amazing at your job.
I was correct.
Friday Night Vibes on TBS, man.
Definitely check it out. We appreciate you guys for coming up, and don't be strangers. You could come on more.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Kev. I feel like you didn't get to.
Nina, girl, I was watching too. I was like, oh my God, this is really happening. They gonna put this on TMZ. It's gonna be on TMZ. It's gonna be full circle.
But I'm serious.
Watch it.
Please come up more. Come up more. If y'all are in town, please come up.
Absolutely.
We had to wait 7 years to get Kev. So
well, y'all just had him, so you know.
Nina, this was fine. I was fully in. I was tweeting.
You was in the comments.
But Nina, your line is still in stores.
Yes. I have a clothing line for plus women sizes 12 to 30. It's it's in stores. It's at Macy's. It's doing very well, and so this is one of the designs. So it's still, you know, the multiple streams. It's always need that.
Big Nina Parker, not the little. She keep a check.
All right. Well, it's Nina Parker, KevOnStage, Friday Night Vibes on TBS. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
That donkey of the day right there.
The Breakfast Club, bitches.
You can call me the donkey of the day, but, like, I mean no harm.
Yes, donkey. Whoa, why the hell I'm so loud? Scared myself. Donkey of the day goes to a Pennsylvania woman named Christina Solomito. Christina Solomito is 44 years old, and she did something that people figuratively talk about doing. And I wish I could curse on the radio, but I can't. But just know, Nicki Minaj wrote a song about doing this to her ops. She called it Did It On Them. But that's the clean version. Yeah, let's hear some of this classic. You remember this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's how the clean version go?
No.
It was Did It On Them.
Did It On Them,
okay.
yeah.
Turn it up, let me hear it.
Did It On Them.
Okay. Keep the instrumental going for me. Yes, see, all of y'all talk about releasing stink missiles on your ops, but you never actually released the chocolate hostages, but Christina actually did. Let's go to NBC 10 Philly for the report, please.
The police chief for Prospect Park says he has seen some road rage cases during his career. Somebody cuts someone off, then the drivers might get into a heated exchange, then they typically drive away. But in this case on Tuesday, there was a little more to that, and the incident was captured on video by a bystander. That video, shared thousands of times on Instagram, shows a woman identified Thursday as Christina Solomito walking to another woman's car. The 44-year-old sits on the hood, or not showing the most graphic parts of the video, including when she appeared to defecate on the car. Solomito was brought to the Prospect Park Police Department Thursday in handcuffs, offering no remarks. She faces a number of charges, including indecent exposure and depositing waste on a highway.
Imagine how mad you got to be to weaponize your own digestive system. Okay, this is biological warfare. All right, I respect people who can back the brown Cadillac out of the garage in public. Okay, I'm not one of those people. I am very regular. Okay, 8:30 a.m. every morning, I'm making a tombstone in the water grave here at work. But if somebody comes in the bathroom or sits in the stall next to me, I can't do it. Okay, I'm a Cowboy fan, but I can't take the Browns to the Super Bowl if someone else is in the bathroom with me. So the fact this woman was able to bake some butt brownies in public on cue, It's impressive. But I'm going to tell you something, Christina. The reason you getting the biggest hee-haw is because according to the police affidavit, you said, and I quote, I wanted to punch her in the face, but I pooped on her car instead and went home. I would have rather you punched her in the face. Okay, It takes way more energy to pull your pants down and birth a creamy behemoth in public than it does to punch someone in the face. Now, Christina allegedly told cops that it was a clean poop. I didn't have to wipe. True quote. For the record, there is no such thing as a clean wipe, okay, or a clean poop. When you release the mud monkeys, the anal area becomes soiled with stool, and you gotta clean it, okay? Fecal matter contains bacteria and other microorganisms that can cause infections or spread if not properly cleaned away. And having residual donkey around the rim of your bunkie can cause discomfort, okay? Itching and irritation. Whenever the inside of your bunkie itching, guarantees you didn't wipe properly. So there is no clean kills when you push out a sewer snake. Okay, when you launch fudge torpedoes, there is always a casualty. That's all I got. Please let Remy Ma give Christina Solamito the biggest hee-haw.
Hee-haw, hee-haw. You stupid motherfucker. Are you dumb? The amount of effort in which you put that presentation. Yes, you did. You literally, boy, like you ate that.
I would never eat dookie.
Well,
my life ain't never been that bad.
Duh, dookie boy. But I'm saying, you told that story like Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou. Hey, yo. Oh, my God. Envy still disgusted.
All right. Well, thank you for that donkey of the day. Now, when we come back.
Thank you for that dookie of the day.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Loren LoRosa filling in for Jess today. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
We have the brother Leon Thomas. Welcome, bro.
What's good? What's good? How y'all feeling?
How you feeling?
Blessed, black, and highly favored. Leon, you are by far the greatest new male R&B singer doing it today.
Man, thank you so much.
That shouldn't even be up for debate.
Man, I really appreciate that, man.
How do you receive that?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I try to just take it one step at a time. I try to stay humble with everything, but I'm glad to be a new voice in R&B. It's a genre that I love. I'm trying to bring back live musicianship, real songs. Writing with the team that I have has been an amazing pleasure, and just bringing like that organic feeling back to the live stage is like a big thing for me.
For people that don't know Leon Thomas, you started on Broadway. Tell everybody how you got your start and your way into being this R&B star.
Well, listen, I grew up in New York, started on Broadway out here. I did 3 Broadway plays, from Lion King, The Carolina Change, The Color Purple.
You were Simba in Lion King?
Yeah, I was Simba in Lion King. And then, I started booking movies and TV shows.
Before we slow down, but how was that? I just took my kids to see that.
Oh, no, it was insane.
So how was that training? Because it's a lot of shows, a lot of people, and it's live, so you can't mess up.
No, you can't mess up. It's 8 shows a week. I was 10 years old when I did my first Broadway play. Shout out to my mom and my family for, supporting me through that whole journey. And yeah, man, I went from being a regular kid to starring on Broadway in a matter of months, Yeah.
Now, how was that? Because it's not the typical thing New York kids do, right? So you're singing, you're dancing, you're doing that. So how did you get into that part of it?
New York kids do.
No, because you don't go to Broadway. I don't know anybody that went to Broadway, so it's very different.
New York kids that go on Broadway.
I don't.
I don't know. I had a couple homies who ended up in different plays, but for the most part, yeah, it was definitely like a bit of an anomaly for my neighborhood in Brooklyn. It was kind of weird explaining it to my homies at school. Like, yeah, I was just doing a show last night. They're like, what? What's going on?
Well, maybe kids from a certain area.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I said kids from New York.
Well, not from New York, from the hoods of New York.
Okay.
All right. But nah, it was definitely a real pleasure, But from there, I ended up doing a lot of TV and film. I shot my first movie out here with Robin Williams and Terrence Howard called August Rush, which was an amazing pleasure, and that kind of brought me into a lot of TV after that. Yeah, with Nickelodeon and
he was on Victoria.
Victorious, yeah, with Ariana Grande, and that was a big journey. That was the #1 show on the network at the time. We were beating out American Idol, and it was a way for the rest of the world to kind of really tap into who I am as a creative. But it took years of really honing in on who I am as an artist to get to this point, producing and writing for a bunch of different artists, winning a Grammy, working with SZA and Babyface, Drake, a bunch of different people. It's been
you wrote for Drake?
I actually produced for Drake, but shout out to him, man.
A lot of people write for Drake, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, man. But
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. But it was a blessing to. I mean, it's interesting because I'm an artist and people see me as a singer. They kind of forget that I also produced a lot of big records. You know, my production game is pretty tight. So
you sing like a rapper though.
Yeah, on purpose.
Your lyrics are like that of a rapper. That's why when I see Freddie Gibbs on your records, or Benny the Butcher, it makes so much sense to me. You still keep in touch with anybody from Victorious?
Absolutely, man. You know, I chop it up with Ari. Avin Jogia is a really good friend of mine. You know, Matt Bennett. A lot of the cast, we all hang out and do lunch. It's kind of like my last 2 years of high school were with them. So that's like my graduating class, essentially. We were all in school together. So we filmed, but we also went to school. So those are my really good friends.
Salute to Victoria and her mom. I hosted a New Year's Eve special with them.
Oh, for real?
Back in the day.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
They good people. You ever wrote for Ariana?
Yeah, actually, I worked with her on her first album. That was my first time going number one with an album. I did about like 4 songs on her first album, Yours Truly.
Wow.
So that was a real pleasure. Yeah.
Did you know you always wanted to be an R&B singer? Like, was that the goal as a kid growing up?
Oh,
or
for
did
sure.
you always want to be an actor? Like, and when did you pivot? When he was like, all right, this is what I want to do?
Listen, I feel like I did this role with Catherine Bigelow. She's an Oscar award-winning director, but I had to cut my dreads for it. And that was kind of like my last straw in acting. You know, I did this role for Detroit, and I felt like, you know, I need to kind of tap back into who I am as an artist. You know, grew my dreads back, really got into my internal self, meditating, really like tapping into who I am as a human being. And a lot of great music came out of that. You know, I always knew I wanted to be a singer, but I knew for a fact I needed to really present myself as who I truly was. It's so easy to play a character when you're always acting. You know, I needed to come to the world as my true self.
When you were on the like the sets, when you like even with like Victorious and stuff like that, what was your mom and like your parents there often? Or,
oh yeah, my mom.
Because Ariana Grande talked a lot about that too, like how y'all parents were close.
Nah, they were there. They were there. You know, my mom was never like a momager, like over my shoulder kind of mom, but she was also very protective of my peace.
Gotcha.
And mental health, and making sure that I'm just like in a good space while I'm trying to create something timeless. And you know, shout out to her for just always, you know, creating safe spaces for me throughout that journey. You know,
probably kept you from getting slimed.
Yeah,
getting quiet on set, Doc.
Nah, it was definitely nuts. Definitely nuts. You know, seeing how everything went down.
Definitely nuts.
It was definitely insane. Definitely insane.
Gotta say, don't say that. Definitely nuts after that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy because, you know, I just saw the doc not too long ago. It was definitely eye opening, and a lot of my castmates we hopped on a Zoom call. We all wanted to talk about it, and luckily during our seasons it was very wholesome and chill. But you know, shout out to anybody who dealt with anything bad. I mean, you know, my heart definitely goes out to them.
The thing I love about your music too is, number one, I can tell you got a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
So does that come with money, or does that come with just how you came up, you know, with your mom doing music? So you always felt free as an artist?
Yeah,
like, what is it?
I mean, you know, I think the greatest thing about being an artist is that it's a great representation of being a free black man. You know, like you know, being able to wear what I want, you know, say what I want on record is really important to me. You know, I try to stay as grounded and as real to who I am as I can be. I mean, I think it's really easy to want to be an artist and play a character who you think people want you to be. But I'm doing my best to just like kind of just say what I want, do what I want, you know.
When you come up with songs with like I like Feelings on Silent with Wale. I love Wale, but songs like that, like when I listen to it, each time I get something different from it. So the first time I listened, I was like, oh, this is like guys just being like, we keep our feelings to ourselves. And then the second time I listened, I'm like, this is the trauma that they deal with, because like he mentions PTSD and like a bunch of other things. Like how do you, first of all, sitting back, you wrote that.
Yeah. I co-wrote
sitting back and writing it with him. How do you be like, okay, here's all the things that we want people to get when they hear this, or do you guys just write and whatever people get, they get? Like, were you dealing with something yourself then, or?
You know, the way I wrote that record was really interesting. I was in Italy, actually. I was working with Ye and Ty Dolla on the Vultures 1 project, and I just had some lyrics kind of, you know, bubbling up in my head. But I think it was one of those moments that it was just kind of stream of consciousness. I didn't really think too hard on my sections. That was like my second take that you're hearing there. It wasn't like me like kind of really punching in a bunch of different ideas. It was just kind of flowing. And when Wale heard it, That was probably the hardest verse to get because we did probably
get him back outside because
we did like 5 sessions to get that one verse. But yo, he's so talented, and seeing how he crafted his verse, I mean, he would do like 5 bars at a time. And he really cared about the poetry of it all. And it's why I really respect him as an artist. He's just a true lyricist.
Well, of course, Leon Thomas is a singer, songwriter, producer, and actor. His album, Mutt, is out right now. And we got to congratulate you because you got a Grammy for your record with SZA. We tell everybody that we helped with that because we played Snooze every morning. 4 times
really
a morning.
did,
6 a.m.
Yeah, 6 a.m.
Yeah,
But you wrote Snooze.
No, I produced on Snooze, man. Yo, first off, let's clear this up. Shout out to SZA for writing that record. We were producing in a separate room, and she heard the instrumental and was like, yo, what is that? And, you know, there is something that I do where I, like, take my voice and I chop it up like a sample because clearing samples is really expensive and cuts into the publishing. So rather than like actually doing a sample, I'll just, you know, sing a little something, right? So she really liked that and then took it into the other room and wrote an amazing song. And being a part of the production on that with Babyface, legendary Babyface, was a true pleasure, man. I mean, it was a real journey to see that song go from like a crowd favorite to a Grammy Award winning R&B song, man. That was definitely life changing for me.
You got a production team, right? It's the Rascals?
Yeah, the Rascals. Me and Chris Tynes, man. We've been working together since we were like 18, so it's really cool to see the growth. I mean, we started off, you know, a little shaky when it came to production, but it's nice to see us, you know, really develop into the producers we are now. We had great mentors, man.
You have such big moments, like even before that and during that, but it's like, I don't know, like when do you feel like things started like to click finally, where people were like, oh shoot, Leon, like we get it now?
It's really interesting. I like to call it the Drake effect. When I was working with Drake, all of a sudden label executives who have known me for years were like, yeah, I think you could be an artist, you know? And I was like, all right, okay. So I kind of peeped that and I said, okay, well, let's start kind of building this out. But I knew I wanted that same formula that Drake had with Lil Wayne and you know, working with Ty Dolla was a really smart move. Not only because he's just an amazing artist, but because it was just nice to have a mentor who had done it already. So he's just like kind of like, yo, try this, make sure the look has this, or, you know, even when it came to the music, like here's how you really format an album. And I'm definitely doing a lot of studying, you know, shout out to Ty Dolla for sure. He definitely, you know, saw something in me that a lot of label executives were not sure about, and it's cool to see it developing.
How did you
in real time?
How did you and Ty Dolla meet?
I was actually working on his album as a producer on featuring Ty Dolla $ign. I was like one of, I think, 9 producers on a song with Kanye and Thundercat and a bunch of other people.
9 producers on one record?
Yeah, because it's like,
was like
when it was like 0.5, like I was just there, added a this or that, a vocal and like some bass or something. But he had everybody play like their unreleased records, and I played him some of my first album as like demos. And Ty was like, yo, you're really tight, you know, as an artist. He was like, man. And he was originally trying to record one of the songs that I had, but I was like, nah, I want you to feature on it. And over the years, we became really good friends. I was working with him a lot and just kind of developed into a whole situation with Sean Barron. Sean Barron is the guy who officially like put it all together with Easy Money and Motown.
Is it tough navigating, because people are getting to know you now and everybody's falling in love with your music now, and like you have such a close association with Drake, you have to like pick and choose where you go musically and what you do musically with who?
You know, honestly,
she's asking, can you work with Kendrick Lamar if you wanted to?
Yeah. I know that's what she's asking. I mean, the way I really look at it is just like on a political level. I make R&B, you know, obviously I make hip hop too, but I'm really focused on my artist journey. So I mean, Kendrick is such a huge artist. I don't really foresee us working together in the near future. And even with Drake, you know, I still want to take my steps to really build on my own 2 feet as an artist.
Right.
So I'm doing what I have to do right now to really like grow my own business. Touring is a big thing for me. I'm really focused on that. I'm hitting the road all this year and working on more records. So I mean, shout out to everybody, but I'm definitely focused on me.
How old were you when you realized Vibes Don't Lie? One of my favorite records.
Thanks,
how old
man.
were you when you first realized Vibes Don't Lie?
I think that was definitely early 20s. I think LA is filled with facades and people who are pretending to be something they aren't. People who move from their hometown and create a whole new persona. So I think for me, just really studying folks, especially a lot of the women you deal with out there, you know, it's really important to study their actions and not their words.
I love the fact that you are encouraging women to keep their healthy.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever want to be a gynecologist?
No.
That wasn't health.
No. That wasn't on the list. I just listen, man. Yeah, I just listen, man.
So they tell you like, hey, my not feeling the best today.
No, I mean I just think pH balance is a conversation, and I just listen, man.
Smell something. Smell something. That's what it was. Smell something. That's what it was. Because you was very, very specific. You said she only drink water. She keep that healthy.
Yeah.
They said on Twitter you be talking crazy like that, but you sing it so people can't be mad about it.
Yeah, they can't really
so when you had that conversation in real life with your home, like you're not your homegirl.
Nah, honestly, you know what? I'm just big on shock value. I think songs, especially R&B songs, have gotten a bit not boring, but I think we've kind of already hit the golden era of R&B. So I'm just finding new ways to make people's ears, perk up and their minds move. I think social media and podcasts are really interesting to me. These phone mics bring out so many conversations. And I think as an R&B artist, I want to find ways to let that live on the record. And it doesn't always have to be like verbatim of what I'm going through in real life. I think it's important to create the drama. I kind of see music as, script and a score. So sometimes the records are just like really good dramatizations of like what I'm seeing in
You've
the world.
You've encountered some unhealthy vaginas, don't lie.
I was gonna say, so you never
I think
had that
everybody is.
conversation? But like how? But like how does that go for you? Like now?
I mean, I don't think it's
now
really,
or like women expecting you to be like, all right, here's the check. Like how do you? Because you got the songs, like they're there.
Yeah. I definitely got the songs, but I think it's just important to be honest with your partner. Communicate. But I think it's a pretty interesting conversation. I try to stay out of if I don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
You ever did the earwax test?
No, I don't even know what that is, man. You putting me on right now. What's an earwax test?
Dig in your ear a little bit. There's a little wax on it. Put a little pinky. Put the pinky inside her.
Hold on. What is that?
She got something.
What?
That's right. As healthy as it should be.
Leon, if you listen to him, you're going to catch a disease.
Yo, that's seen it.
Ladies, you should do it on yourself.
I don't know where he got
First off,
that
anybody
from.
who's letting you do that is nuts.
That's some South Carolina back roads thing that they do. It doesn't. I do not try that.
Nah, that's
ginger ale
wild.
works. That doesn't. Like,
Ginger ale.
Y'all never heard? Your mom never told you you got stomachache? Go drink ginger ale.
We ain't talking about stomach aches. We talking about
I'm
pH
just
balance
saying,
being
some
off.
people think ginger ale cure everything, not earwax. Don't listen to him.
Yo, this is the last thing I thought I'd be
ginger
talking
ale
about.
in
Your mom ain't
pH
telling you
balance.
Never heard that.
Put ginger ale on your vagina. That's why you single.
Anybody else ever heard? Y'all never heard that.
That's why you single. That's why you single.
I don't know how y'all grew up. My grandma used to be like, go get some ginger ale and lay down.
Wow.
About everything.
Yeah. No. We love ginger ale around here.
Did your therapist really tell you that you're too detached, or is that just something you tell women so you don't commit?
Nah, I think that bar for me. I have a co-writer, Busy Crook, and he lives in Miami. Great rapper. That was a bar that came from him. He's very deep into therapy, but I'm glad that we talked about it on record because it's something that I definitely did try out over the pandemic, and it's something that I actually really respect you a lot for championing.
Thank you, brother.
But yeah, that was a bar from Busy, but I thought it was important to add in there.
Don't try to blame Busy now.
Nah, that's my co-writer. Shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? Like we write a lot of our songs together, and I really respect a lot of the perspectives he brings to a lot of my poignant records. He has some great bars.
On for Dancing with when I listen to Dancing with the Demons, do you ever get like Miguel references sometimes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was listening and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I wonder if like that, like are y'all, do you know him?
Yeah, that's like my big bro. We actually did a movie together. He was in Detroit, the one I had to cut my hair for. He was an amazing mentor for me for some years. That bridge between R&B and rock and roll, he's traveled across that bridge many a time. I definitely look up to him when it comes to that. And for me, because I play multiple instruments, I definitely try to just embody a lot of that energy. But I think we both have the same influences as well.
I agree with Loren on that. Miguel, to me, before you, was the last great male R&B singer. To me, I'm just talking about the new guys. I'm not talking about the OG legend. I'm talking about he was the last one to me, and I felt the same way when I heard Dancing with the Demons. I feel like you're talking to yourself on that record, though. You said you can't seem to save yourself, never learn to ask for help, going out all night searching for a feeling. So what have you learned to ask for help?
It's a one, but I thought because I took it as like it wasn't talking about a woman.
Nah.
At some point.
Well, it's interesting for me. Like that record, when I wrote it in 2 different days. The first day, microdosing on shrooms, so it's a bit of a haze. The next day I listened to it and I was like, man, this is really poignant stuff. I mean, it's just really talking about being up all night and searching for a feeling, and it's trying to fill voids. I feel like as when you're in your single journey, you can try to fill a void with a stranger, and that's not always very healthy.
But fun.
It could be fun. It could be fun for sure. But and then especially when you're in the limelight, the second verse is more so talking about being in the limelight and trying to fill voids. Nobody really talks about the darkness that comes with the flashing lights. And that record was very deep and very personal for me. I'm glad that people resonate with it.
Now you talk about microdosing on shrooms.
Yeah.
Where does that put your mind? And do you always do that to produce and write?
Nah. I mean, I think for this album, it was an interesting opportunity to kind of unplug. I mean, I wasn't doing as many shows around that time too, so it was really helpful to kind of just get into my own head and try to figure out who I am. I definitely did a lot of manifesting, a lot of just like writing down who I wanted to be as a human being around that time, a lot of journaling, and looking back at that season in my life, it was a journey for me to evolve into who I am right now. I wouldn't suggest people just go super crazy on shrooms or anything, but I think microdosing, a small amount could be healthy if you're trying to just find yourself, and at that time I was trying to find myself,
Yeah, I've microdosed. I've macrodosed too.
You said you were trying to find yourself. Did you find yourself?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's a constant journey. That's like the whole part of finding yourself. You realize it never stops because we're always evolving, but it's great that I was able to do it through music. That was like a version of musical therapy for me. And I'm glad that people are resonating with it,
I love how you're normalizing dogs on Mutt. Not I'm not a dog anymore, but there is a young, unhealed version of me that would have really appreciated that record. Because you make it sound so fun. And it's almost like women are just gonna bring you in, like, oh, Brett, come in, you stray dog. Let me domesticate you.
Nah, I mean, I was really just documenting what I saw.
Cut it out.
But nah. It's definitely parts of me. It's definitely parts of me.
Now you document what you saw. It's okay. We identify
there was
with the
definitely parts
music
of me post breakup where I just had to figure it out. But I think that's all a part of living, Do
you get nervous though?
This was a post breakup like album. Yeah, this was a post breakup album. So this is me documenting, finding myself. First off, like, you're kind of broken after that, and then you gotta put the pieces back together.
Her fault. Yes.
So it's not her fault. I mean, it's our fault.
Yes, listen, Leon, it's her fault that you ended up being a dog. You went through your phase. It's her fault.
I bet.
I think it's very commendable too that on the song "Safe Place," you let the person you're dealing with know this isn't a safe place.
Yeah.
What inspired that?
I mean, I think knowing that I wasn't necessarily ready to settle down, I think that conversation definitely came up a lot during, I guess you would call it my phase. Just understanding like, I'm not trying to settle down. This is a fun place. This is a time period where I'm just figuring me out. Work is crazy. It's hectic. And I think having that conversation was important to, like you said, just avoid people not understanding what it was at the time.
But are you that honest in person though? Because you're honest in music, but it's difficult to be face to face with somebody and be like,
it's very
Place,
difficult.
baby.
I really try my best to be as honest as I can. But yeah, those are hard conversations, man. I can't sit here and say I've always done it right or I'm perfect or anything, but I try to be like real. I try to explain myself, but even when you explain yourself, sometimes wires get crossed. So unpacking it and communicating, is an important thing later on.
Yeah, don't no woman want to hear that after she just let you hit raw.
Yeah, it's not.
Has a woman ever said that to you when you were trying to like create like all right, maybe this is like a thing, and she's like, yo, I like you, but I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah, actually, yeah. In my early 20s, I was talking to this amazing artist, and yeah, she was just like, listen, baby, this ain't a safe place kind of thing.
Anybody we know now?
She's like, nah. I don't think you guys
tear it up a little bit.
Yeah, no. It was all good for me.
Your
I mean, at that point,
your shades all fogging up. I ain't gonna lie.
You tear it up a little bit.
But yeah. It was definitely a realization for me. I was like, oh, it can happen on that side too. I was like 20, maybe 21.
You cried in the car.
Yeah. So I was like real young, kind of green. Like, oh, okay, all right, bet, cool.
So you all looking for a relationship now, if the right person.
Yeah. I'm definitely in that mode right now.
You dating? Would you date other like artists, celebrities, or do you like? How does that work? Are you doing
it's
that?
It's just hectic. I mean, you're kind of inviting the media into your life, like the one safe place you have. But I mean, who knows? If I really catch a vibe with somebody who happens to be I mean, I don't really care about that side of things. You know, I've been in the game a long time. I've met some beautiful women who are amazing artists, but it's just about the human being. And it can be tough to really build something if both of your schedules are super hectic. So I don't know.
I don't want to ask a question too about the another record on Far-Fetched.
Yeah,
you said because we was having a big conversation this week about tricking because Skip Bayless allegedly offered somebody $1.5 million.
Oh my God!
And you say paid for my mistakes in Benzes and diamonds, $250 fronted like you was my artist, 5 G's just across the Atlantic. We sat in silence for almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
that's a horrible vacation.
$250,000.
Yeah,
Benzes and diamonds.
Well, listen, when I wrote that record, it was not for me. That was not a joint that I was originally going to use for me. It was for somebody really famous and really rich, but I just love the way it sounded. And I was like, well, you know what? I love to speak in a world where I can actually afford that. Why not? Let's manifest that.
In Lucid Dreams, you talk about your significant other leaving things behind.
Yeah, that was a fun record with Masego.
After a breakup. Why do you think that topic is taboo?
I don't really consider it taboo necessarily, but I think it's just funny because for me, I was living with my ex for like a couple years, so she just had like a closet filled with clothes at my crib, and it had been like a year and a half since we had broken up. So we were in the studio talking about different things. The guitarist and producer on that song, Freaky Rob, his girl left a flat screen at the house that he had to use to watch Netflix. So he was like, man, when is she going to take this flat screen? And, Masego also had a similar situation like that at his crib with the couch. So we were all just kind of using all of our different experiences, putting it into a song and, just locking it in.
It's different when it's closed, though.
Yeah, you cleared out the closet?
Yeah, definitely
right?
clears out cleared out the closet.
Wait, did you move out of the apartment or you just cleared out the closet?
I'm still at the crib.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Still at the crib. There's definitely a certain interior design choices I'm gonna switch up soon. But
this is like real recent.
Yeah.
All right, the album is out right now. Make sure you pick it up, and we appreciate you for joining us, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's a big opportunity.
Thank you so much. It's Leon Thomas. The album Mud is out now, and it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. It's time to get up out of here. Charlamagne, you got a positive note?
Yeah, the positive note is simply this. I swear, because we was talking about this earlier, about not being able to say no. We was talking about Glorilla when the girl walked up to her asking her for money, for her tuition. Nothing has caused more problems for me in my life than my inability to say no or turn people down. Soft and empathetic nature cost you a lot. Remember that. And no is a complete sentence. Have a blessed day.
Oh, my God. Now I like that one. Drop a clues bomb for that. Because this man is right.
Breakfast Club, bitches!
Y'all finished or y'all done?